Assume that most of the fighting occurred in, around, or for Bunker Hill, but they were actually trying to lay siege to Boston, and most of the Patriots had set up on Breed's Hill. The Loyalists had set up on a adjoining hill known as Molten Hill, and when Connor first arrives, he finds Israel Putnam, who's like a very famous historical figure, arguing with some of the other commanders about why it is the Patriots are set up on Breed's Hill when the orders were to set up on Bunker Hill. And they go back and forth about, which is the better place to do it. And then by the time they've finished arguing, the British are, pushing forward and the attack begins. And the other thing that he mentioned that's part of the mission is that Connor at one point has to make his way through Charlestown, which is being bombarded by the British. So you've got this sort of crazy action set piece where you're moving through a town that's on fire and cannon fire is going off everywhere, and so it's pretty cool. And some other stuff happens, but I don't want to spoil it now.
Well, that's it. We didn't want Connor to be just one member of a line infantry, right? Having hundreds or thousands of soldiers next to you and just firing. That's not really the experience that we wanted to create. We wanted something where you had your own agenda, something where you're either taking command or going after a certain individual. So on the Battle of Bunker Hill, we're standing here on the monument. The Battle of Bunker Hill, you're out there to kill one particular enemy on the other team. So he's out there, he's on the other side, he's over on Molten Hill, and you're going to be basically crossing a battlefield to get to him. And we had to build a completely new technology for this, something that we've never done. To be able to show thousands of enemies on screen at the same time, it's something we've never been capable of doing, but we've done it for the first time in Assassin's 3. So we're really excited to be bringing this to you. And what's great is having the concept of the muskets, right? That allows us to balance the gunplay. So the British would fire in volleys, so huge sections would fire at the same time to maximize the impact of their shot. So what they were doing is they were lined up and they were shooting in a volley, and then they were charging up the hill to try and overrun the Americans. And the Americans were pushing them back, holding their defensive positions, and just smashing the British against that defensive wall. The British came 3 times before they finally overrun the American position. So in the end, the British did take Bunker Hill, but the Americans inflicted so much damage against them that it was considered a victory for America. But Connor's not there to win that battle. He's not there to change the course of the battle. He's there to kill one man. So you're going to be infiltrating across a battlefield, then sneaking around behind, climbing up a cliff face, sneaking through their camp and trying to take down one man. So it's a really intense setup. It's kind of like a boss battle in a way. It's consider the scenario is the boss, right? The one man, you're going to be able to, if you can get to him, you can stab him, you're going to kill him. That's it, it's done. But getting there is the challenge. Being able to infiltrate past an army. So it's a really fun setup. It's a really challenging one. You'll have to use all of your skills and tools and techniques to figure it out. But once you get it, it's incredibly satisfying.
Is the target, is he a real person?
Yes, he is.
Did he really die in the battle?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
And there's kind of conflicting accounts of exactly how he died. So that's perfect for us. That's how we can insert our history inside of the real history. So yeah, this is where we live, in the gray zones where it's a little bit unknown about how something happened.
That's perfect.
Yeah. There's a lot of information out there, and we have a historian who can go and find us all the information we need. And it takes time to read the histories and read the battle reports and understand how the troops were moving and where they were positioned, how the fortifications worked, and what people were saying. Like, we have the famous speech about don't shoot until you see the white of their eyes. And that's all just from doing research in the history and seeing how it actually happened, and then leveraging that to create the world and the space that you'll play in. We take a little bit of liberty to control the gameplay. And we're not going to play the entire battle because it lasted a full day. We're only there for a specific moment of it. But the majority of how it's laid out and the landscape and the tactics they're using, it's very realistic.